I don't know. I know so many people have so many different takes. Initially, I thought, but this was my take before the race stewards came out with their report. I thought Checo was a bit at fault because I'm like, you have the whole view of the car. And seeing as the car ahead, Carlos Sainz he has more right to the racing line that he seemed to be moving towards. And I think the whole battle was for the slipstream. The slipstream coming from Charles Leclerc. Slipstream basically meaning Charles Leclerc had already punched a hole into the air ahead, so it's easier for you to just come by zoom. And now in an attempt to ensure that no one is bulging, they both crashed out. It was bad. And crashing on lap 50, almost like the whole racing distance is 51 laps, and crashing out on 49, 50 laps, like...
The mics are on and off we go.
Hi guys, my name is Winnie and welcome to the Worldspin Podcast, the home of Formula One content and everything motorsport. I know we've been away, but I promise we're back. It's been a hectic. We've missed Monza and we've missed the race before that, but now we're back. Welcome to our Azerbaijan Grand Prix race debrief. This race was chaotic. Baku city circuit always promises action and it delivers action. It's always so... Think about the most chaotic things that could happen in Formula One, that's Baku. We almost didn't get that, but trust Baku, it always delivers. I want to just start with this. I don't even know, like I want to keep this episode short and sweet. So let's get cracking. So I want to go again, like in our usual fashion. We'll go team by team, analyzing the driver, what stood out for us. We'll do our own bee, honey, and sting of the weekend. That's a segment I've really forgotten about, but it's fun to be back. Yeah, so let's start with Oscar Piastri is now a two-time race-winning F1 driver. Commendable job by Oscar Piastri. Oscar drove brilliantly. I think he finished the race on the radio. He was like, this is the most stressful afternoons I've had in my life. And Oscar, so did your fans and so did everybody. It was hectic. Like it was all a game of we really don't know who's going to win. It's between Charles Leclerc and Oscar Piastri. And then all of a sudden now we have like a four-way. We have Oscar, we have Leclerc, we have Perez, and then we have Carlos Sainz. I mean, hands down, one of the best deliveries for like a win by Oscar Piastri. Like, props to him. He qualified P2 on Saturday, and unfortunately didn't get pole. I was really rallying and for him to get pole, but he didn't. But driving that McLaren like around the Baku the streets of Baku, that was amazing. And I don't think guys be understanding like how hectic it is to drive around Baku. Baku is a street circuit basically meaning that these roads are actually used by normal like day-to-day activities around the city in Baku. Like, that is such a cool concept. That's like such a cool concept for like street circuits. So you find in Baku there's some wide sections of the track. 3 cars can go side by side, but there's some tricky, very narrow sections of the track, like the castle point, like I think you normally see it, like the castle section. They're very like narrow, and it's very hard sometimes for more than one car to go around, and you need to be the precision of you as a driver, you need to be very, very, very careful and very precise. So anyway, yeah, as in keeping that with the whole pressure, Charles Leclerc was literally on the rear of Oscar Piastri the whole time once Piastri overtook Charles Leclerc. Like, I want to just say props to Oscar. That was dominant. That was a show of brilliance. And like I've said this before and I'll say it again for the non-believers and the haters. Oscar Piastri, you a world champion material. He is a future world champion, and just watch that space. In 2020, I'm manifesting it for him. 2025 is your year, Oscar Piastri. You can be world champion, The second driver at McLaren, Lando had a very unfortunate Saturday. He got kicked. I think after hearing all those takes, the think pieces, everyone trying to explain what the papaya rules means. Andrea Stella is, I don't know, I think it's Andrea Stella. Andrea Stella is, I don't know, I think it's Andrea Stella. Andrea Stella is, I don't know, I think it's Andrea Stella. Andrea Stella is, I don't know, I think it's Andrea Stella. Andrea Stella is, I don't know, I think it's Andrea Stella. Andrea Stella is, I don't know, I think it's Andrea Stella. Andrea Stella is, I don't know, I think it's Andrea Stella. Andrea Stella is, I don't know, I think it's Andrea Stella. Andrea Stella is, I don't know, I think it's Andrea Stella. Andrea Stella is, I don't know, I think it's Andrea Stella. Andrea Stella is, I don't know, I think it's Andrea Stella. Andrea Stella is, I don't know, I think it's Andrea Stella. Andrea Stella is, I don't know, I think it's Andrea Stella. Andrea Stella is, I don't know, I think it's Andrea Stella. Andrea Stella is, I don't know, I think it's Andrea Stella. Andrea Stella is, I don't know, I think it's Andrea Stella. Andrea Stella is, I don't know, I think it's Andrea Stella. And interviews everywhere, we're being told now Lando will be prioritized. The bias will first start with a team to ensure that they win the constructors, and then the bias will be for Lando, and then finally with Oscar. It's crazy. Like, we had all that, and Lando went on and just decided to make the job easy for the team and qualified P17. Although I want to make a case for him, it was not entirely his fault, because there was, like, I think like yellow flags waved during that session that was a bit, I think maybe that's why that's why he went into the pits when Ocon went off, or something happened with Ocon, and that caused that session to be suspended. So maybe that might have impacted Lando Norris's no, it definitely impacted Lando Norris's qualifying. So I'm making a case for him, because yes, his race was phenomenal as well. I have a cold, so words come out sounding so weird in my head, and like in my head they sound okay, and then on my mouth we're like, okay, what am I saying? Yeah, so there was a long stint on the like, he did a very long stint on the hards. He was the last driver to pit, and that McLaren seemed to get better. Like, with the older the tire, the better the McLaren. And Lando did a phenomenal job. Like, he helped Oscar's race like a little bit by holding, like, with Checo Perez, just a little bit. He held up Checo Perez just a little bit to help with Oscar Piastri's race. So props to him. From P17 he was upgraded to P15 after Gasly was disqualified from qualifying and Lewis Hamilton had to start on the pit lane. That's a good drive, relatively, right? Like, driving from P15 to like what position did he finish? I don't know. P4. Like, that's I don't know. Like, that's crazy. P4 is crazy. P4 is crazy for Lando Norris. Anyway, yeah, that's it. On that McLaren front, like, let's just address everything that's relating to that team before we even go to the other constructor. McLaren are being, I've just seen so many videos. They're being accused of having an illegal wing, running an illegal wing. You know, the rear of the car, you see where the DRS is at. So the whole problem is, according to the technical regulations and rules set by FIA to govern Formula One and the construction of Formula One cars. In fact, I have a visual guide. I don't know why I'm struggling. So this is like where the DRS is at. Like, when I say the rear, this is the rear of the car. So when you're driving, this is what the rules say. When the Formula One car is moving, no other part is allowed to be moving, or, you know, of course, definitely apart from the tires, because they have to spin to move. Wait, yes. So the only part that should only, like, that's mobile on the car is the DRS, which opens. It's just literally, it's a flap. It's this flap. It opens when you hear the DRS is open. So it's a flap that opens on the car. So apart from that's the only part that should be mobile. So, but now it's being reported that McLaren have like some sort of a mini DRS that's moving as well. That's what this is something that's, is it the first time it's been reported in Formula One? Definitely not. Like, we had those cases of, like, Red Bull running a flexi wing. That's the thing, like, it's moving. Just not the DRS, there's another part of the rear wing that's moving. So that I don't know how illegal it is, or I don't know if FIA will take any action. That's just something to keep an eye out for. Yeah, that's like the biggest news for them. Let's talk about Ferrari next. Ferrari ran a very good race. Charles Leclerc P2, a DNF for Sainz. We'll get to that, like, immediately, yes. But let's talk about Charles Leclerc first. Charles Leclerc follows up, like, back to back. He could have followed, like, he has 4 poles. Is it 4? Yeah, 4 poles now around the Baku city circuit. He also seems, just like Checo Perez, Charles Leclerc seems to love driving around this configuration of the Baku city circuit. Amazing. One thing I want to say, wow. Charles Leclerc was in pole, started the race in pole, held off very nicely until he was overtaken by Oscar Piastri, I think, just before we got to, like, halfway through the race. The one thing that I was really shocked about, and I really, like, after the race was like, I need to know what happened. Charles Leclerc had built it seemed like a 6-second gap on Oscar Piastri, but then after pitting, like, literally he came out and Oscar Piastri was right there and Checo Perez was literally there, almost like in a DRS whole kind of situation again. So it's like, what happened to that gap that Charles Leclerc had open up. I've actually heard from Fred Vassar, they say the time was lost on the outlap. The outlap meaning the lap before you pit, and the in lap is like the lap before you pit, you come to the pit, and the outlap, the lap where like now coming out of the pits. Apparently, I think maybe he might have been slow. That's why he lost that time that he had gained on Oscar Piastri. Otherwise, like, props to Charles Leclerc. He was able to follow like Oscar Piastri, and for them to do all that close racing for over half a racing distance of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. That's props to the driver. That means they really do know what they're about. And I have never doubted Charles Leclerc, like never. And his consistency, his form this year has been amazing. It's nice, and I'm happy for Ferrari because that's how my goat will be headed next year. So I'm like, when they win, it's a win for me. And I've had people like all the time on our comments on like whatever social media platform at the World Spin Podcast. People always like, everyone wants to know like, what team do you support? I know it might look like, I don't know. I don't think I have an allegiance to a team really. Sometimes I'm tifosi. Sometimes I was once a very fierce Mercedes fan, and then now no. No, I don't believe in their politics anymore. I am more of a driver fan. I support Lewis. I like, those are the drivers I rally around. Lewis Hamilton, Charles Leclerc, and Oscar Piastri. Mostly. Like, that might be my bias sometimes. But otherwise, I'm also like intrigued like by the runnings of the different F1 teams. Really, F1 as a sport, as a phenomenon, like really intrigues me. And I don't like to put myself in a box. I'm lying. I like to put myself in a box when it comes to my favorite Formula 1 drivers, and when it comes to my opinions and to my takes in Formula 1. I do not want, no. If you, like, I will listen to whatever take you have, just don't be stupid. Don't be stupid. That's the thing. And now for the first time, I didn't even say this about McLaren. For the first time since 2014, they are leading the constructors. They're ahead of Red Bull. Red Bull Racing has been... Anyway. So now for the first time, they are leading the Constructors' Championship. And if they win it, it will be the first time they have won since... The last time that McLaren won was 1998. I know most of you were not even born. Am I lying? If you were born... you were born when McLaren were winning their last Constructors title, please tell me in the comments. I want to just be like, wow. Not in a bad way, I just want to know. And if you weren't, talk to us about it as well. So Ferrari. Charles Leclerc, I think there's nothing really much to say about him. Like, it's sad for his fans and for the Tifosi. I mean, can you imagine he won in Monza and him carrying on that form in Baku? Very different circuits though, but it would have been amazing for them. And I don't know, like, Ferrari introduced upgrades in Monza in Italy. This is the first time they introduced upgrades since their upgrades in Spain, where I really told them a new one. It was like, why would they threaten us with a good time? Oh my God, I'm sorry. Why would they threaten us with a good time and then they fail to deliver? But their upgrades from Italy, Monza, seem to be really working. I don't know what I've taken. Well, my words everywhere. Like, that's really weird. It's giving weird for sure. But yeah, the upgrade seems to be working. Props to them. And they were running such a strong race with I need to see myself out. I don't know what I'm talking about. With Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz. Yes. Carlos Sainz had a very good race, to be honest. He said he doesn't even love driving around here. It's not a track he particularly enjoys driving around. So for him to actually even qualify P3, that was really good for him. And it's like he jinxed himself because he's like, I don't like driving around here. And then the circuit was like, say less. And then just one lap to the end of the race, he's taken out. Yeah, so let's just talk about it. So I think when Charles Leclerc could not really catch Piastri, there was an attempt, or Checo Perez was catching him from behind, so there was an attempt on move, and Checo could not get past Leclerc, and then in that whole shebang, because Carlos Sainz ended up catching that whole pair, the Leclerc and Perez pair, and then now Sainz managed to somehow get ahead of Perez, and then on turn 2, Sainz went a bit wide and they somehow crashed. So that event has already been investigated by the race stewards, and they've classified it as a racing incident. So they've said Sainz moved into a car that he had a limited view of. So there was not like, so when they investigate these things, they go back to the previous laps. Like, have you deviated from your racing line? As in, was there a change of like steering? Like, was there an erratic change of your driving style? So to ensure that you were really actively trying to crash into this person. So there wasn't so much change with both drivers, but they deemed that Carlos Sainz, should not, like, probably have not. He was already aware that Checo, there was a car next to him, but then he still like made that move without really knowing where exactly the car was. But then even Checo, they said he did not attempt to, avoid that crash with a car that he had a better view of, since he was behind. Like, Checo was behind Sainz, so he could clearly see the whole of that Ferrari car. So on that line, Checo was as well. I mean, there was no deviation. When you see the onboard video, you'll see that Checo still had his steering straight. There was no attempt to really avoid that Ferrari. So there was no one driver that was predominantly at fault, and so they've classified it as a racing incident. I don't know, I know so many people have so many different takes. Initially, I thought, but this was my take before the race stewards came out with their report, I thought Checo was a bit at fault, because I'm like, you have the whole view of the car. And seeing as the car ahead, Carlos Sainz he has more right to the racing line that he seemed to be moving towards. And I think the whole battle was for the slipstream. The slipstream coming from Charles Leclerc. Slipstream basically meaning Charles Leclerc had already punched a hole into the air ahead, so it's easier for you to just come by. Zoo. Aerodynamics, guys. I'm gonna add aerodynamicist on my bio. Anyway, that's it. So they were both chasing the same thing, and now in an attempt to ensure that no one is bulging, they both crashed out. It was bad, and crashing on lap 50, almost like the whole racing distance is 51 laps, and crashing out on 49, 50 laps, like, a shame for both drivers. But now it took them out, because Checo seemingly was having one of his better weekends. Like, the whole of, for the better part of the year, he's not been going very well, and he was in such a strong pace and strong place with his Red Bull. On a weekend that Max Verstappen seemed to be struggling, like, behind. Max was saying the car doesn't bite. The front tires seem to be like it was described like as a glass, like it's not really seeming to. He was actually complaining in the radio of Max Verstappen about the biting, like there was no bite, like the grip, the tire is not biting into the ground, So yeah, and Max mostly loves like a bit unstable, like rear wing. I think that's understeer or something. So but the front tires have to really grip the tarmac for him to enjoy his understeer car or whatever. I hope yes. So Checo Perez, sad for him and sad for Carlos. They were really, like, they could have easily been position 2 or 3 or 3 and 2, like whatever order. Was it 2 and 3? No, 3 and 4. But then now no points for them. That's it. Let's talk about which number 4. We've already talked about Oscar. We've talked about Charles Leclerc. We've talked about Lando Norris. Let's talk about P5, who was Max Verstappen. Max Verstappen, we've already even just mentioned. Red Bull is not particularly having an easy run of races. Like, Max won the last time 7 races ago. Was that like at the Austria, the Red Bull Ring? It's like it's been a minute since he's won, like 7 races ago. I hope I'm right. I don't know what 7 races ago is. I hope it's Austria. It's really like, this was a car that was the most dominant. The Red Bull built like the most dominant car last year. The RB19 was like, this car was like a monster. Like, it was fast, it was rapid. And now with the RB20, they seem to be having so many problems with their car. Like it's not as rapid. So, and when everyone is developing, everyone is moving forward. We have McLaren who have not turned back from last year. Was it at Miami or whichever? Was it Singapore or Miami where they introduced their upgrades, and it's been forward for them. And Ferrari as well with their fluctuating performance, but the upgrade seems to be working. The Red Bull seem to not have figured it out, but it was a nice weekend for Checo. He loves driving around here. He's the most successful driver around Baku. Like, he's won it 2 times. So it was very unfortunate for us to see his weekend go down the drain like that, seeing as he was really running a very strong race on a weekend that Max Verstappen seemed to be on a back foot. So to see him. And things have been going so downhill for Red Bull this from May. It's just been disaster. Not even May, like from the beginning of the year. I don't know if it's karma or whatever, but it's not looking good for them. So they finished P5 and a DNF for Checo Perez. Let's talk about P5, P6. P6 is Fernando Alonso. That's the other team. Like, it was a very big week for Aston Martin. They've announced that they won is it winning the battle or winning the war? They won that Adrian Newey war. Like, they finally got to sign Adrian Newey. But I'm hearing he has a very lucrative deal with them as well. So it was meant to be like a very positive weekend for Aston Martin. Like, Adrian Newey, as you said, as you've probably heard before, he's one of the greatest F1 designers. So, and him starting with Aston Martin as early as March 2025, meaning he'll have an influence on the new 2026 car. That's big for them. And Aston Martin have been building, guys. They have a new wind tunnel, state of the art. They have like a new factory. That is very, very important and very key. That means if you see Lance Stroll terrorizing y'all in 2026, fighting for a championship, come look with me. We'll talk then. It was a positive weekend. But I don't even know where they are at, because this was the weekend Lance was saying, this is not a car. Yeah, he did have said that. He did have said, this is not a car. I don't think I'm driving a car. Very hilarious. But anyway, Fernando Alonso, I don't even know, like, it's just there's so much happening in F1. Like, sometimes these teams just get you can get just swallowed in the whole shebang. So I don't even know what the problem was, but strong finish for Fernando in P6 points for them. P7, P8, let's talk about Williams. Williams have straight line speed. Williams, they are rapid on straight line speed. So after like a chaotic qualifying for them, I actually just saw the video of what happened and why that airbox, the thing that was left on the Williams on Alexander Albon's car, they almost ran over that mechanic's leg. Like, I don't know, that's looks like a very big operational error for them. But it's good that the mechanic is okay, the engineer or mechanic, he wasn't run over, but they left the airbox, some dry ice on the car. That was really, it was giving messy. It's giving, we don't have time. But then now, what are you rushing for? Like, if you almost cost your driver, because that's the other thing. Like, I know we could easily tell the marshals, come and take off. The moment it looked like you touch the car like this, you've assisted. He has to be taken. He cannot participate anymore in any of this session, so he has to be taken back to the pits. Yeah, that was. But anyway, great. They redeemed themselves. And on the second weekend for Franco Colapinto in F1, brilliant results for Williams. P7 for Albon, P8 for Colapinto. A point haul for Williams that moves them to P8 on their constructors' standings, really. But let me not spread misinformation. But I'm pretty sure. Yeah, so that effectively moves them to P8 ahead of Alpine with 16 points. Like, that's a good, and the reason why the constructors is very important is they do get to share money at the end of the year. So the higher you place, the more money you'll get, and the better your shareholders, the more your investors will be happy if you're making them back some money at least. So that's why it's very important. P7, P8 for them. Very nice. And good strategy from Albon as well. He was on a similar running strategy with with Lando Norris. So he went long, but Lando went longer, and that's how Lando was able to get ahead of the Williams team. But props, they looked like they were fast, actually. Like the Williams car looked like it was genuinely like it had good pace. So good for them. I'm happy for James Vowles on the team and everybody. Like apart from like that whole mishap during qualifying. I want to talk about Mercedes. Mercedes keep on annoying me all the time. I don't even know what to say about them. Like, I am so done with them. Lewis Hamilton, I don't even know why he... Oh, yeah, pit lane start for him. I don't know why they decided to do this. There was an engine Lewis lost on early on in the year. Was it in Australia? I don't know why. But, so in Formula 1, they give you an allowance up to, I think, four components, like a fourth allocation of the different components of the power unit that make up the power unit. So once you take any more past 5, any number past 5, past 4, you get a penalty. Like from the first time you take, you get a 10-place grid penalty for every component. And then after that, you get like a 5-place grid penalty. It's a whole like shebang. So Lewis Hamilton had a pit lane start. I mean, you already knew, I mean, even in his post-race thing, he was like, I already knew it was going to be a disaster. For sure. But he finished, Lewis Hamilton finished P9. I mean, I don't think he's entirely very happy with his results, and so am I. I don't know what I think. I don't know what I feel. Like, today, I know people were saying, you know, I felt for once like what people feel. Like, for example, when they're not, their favorite drivers are not really like in the top running for a win or like a podium. I don't know. I mean, I support Piastri, but not like as much as I rally around Lewis Hamilton. So I don't even know what I was feeling. I was just so like heartbroken because I'm like, oh my God, we're really stuck behind a Haas. We were stuck behind Oliver for a while. We also stuck behind an Alpine for a minute. Like it was a long Sunday for us. Like it was a long Sunday to be a Lewis Hamilton fan. It's been a bad weekend. Like the practice sessions looked very positive, and then like qualifying, and then the race happens, and it's just like, what is happening? And then, I mean, it's good. Maybe they decided to take the power unit penalty here at Baku because the overtaking opportunities he has are many. There are plenty, but it still didn't make sense. And then I think the strategy that he was on, he seemed to mirror the strategy of most top runners. But then I'm like, no, I don't think he was going to catch these people. Like his car is not even that fast. So I think he was just swallowed up and lost somewhere in there. So I don't particularly understand what they were trying to attempt. And then Lewis seemed to be in management. Like he has been complaining in qualifying. He complained about tire temperature, and like that's a thing that they were like it's either they're overheating or not enough temperature on the tires. And this is like an issue that seems to be particularly ailing. Like of course it's with the rest of the teams as well, but it seems to be a very strong itch and like a headache for the Mercedes pair, especially even with George Russell as well. And George Russell finished P3. I just want to know how lucky this motherfucker is. He is so lucky. I don't know. He has insane luck. Like I want him to, I don't know. I don't have that much luck in my life. George Russell is, I don't know, he's so lucky because how is he, you know, he snatched a podium. But that's what I keep on saying about him. Be in the right place at the right time. Like qualify properly and make sure you're just running your race, because this is Formula 1 and it's Baku. You never know what's really going to happen. Because I was actually like put out a tweet during the race. I was like, oh my God, like Formula 1 has really peaked. Because what do you mean? It's Baku and there hasn't been even one a safety car or anyone crashing. We talked to soon. It happened. But anyway, like you see that one was towards the end. Like I think Formula 1 right now, the grid is formed by very talented people, are very good. So the moment you have an off weekend, there are people to just, you know, pick up the slack and just pick up. If you're driving a faster car than them, they will pick up the slack. Like right now is not the time to be inconsistent in Formula 1. There's a new boss in town, and that boss is consistent. You have to stay on your toes. If you don't, you're washed. You become washed. That was Mercedes. Oh yeah, so George Russell, P3. I'm so happy for you. I don't know how he always finds himself in these positions, inheriting wins, inheriting like podiums. Like he's so lucky. I just feel like he gets so lucky. And George Russell did not Per Pirelli. He was like, you know, I also like I totally get, I understand, I totally get where George is coming from. One, like you see, like the car is, George was actually very fast. Like I think he was the fastest car towards the end of the Grand Prix, the last I think 14 laps of the race. And then even at the start of the race, he was also pretty fast. And then like there was like a stint where like, where's the pace? And he says it's the same car, same driver, but the difference is the tires. Like once you change the tires, it's like there's such a shift in the car. So and you see that's why they're also struggling with the tire temperatures and stuff like that. And I'm like, interesting. And then he was like, even Pirelli don't know it, they're using black magic. He said black magic. He said black magic. He said black. I'm not kidding. He is on record. I have the receipts. I have it. I don't have it printed out, but I have the receipt. He said it's black magic because Pirelli don't understand the tires, apparently, allegedly. And the teams as well. Like, I mean, this is the only, you know, when you think about it, it's crazy. And I think it's interesting how George was talking about it today, because if you've listened to the Adrian Newey interview he did with High Performance, like that particular podcast, and Adrian Newey was talking about like the F1 tires and how, you know, that's the only part of the F1 car that's in contact with the ground, really. Like no matter how many simulations you run, whatever the simulations you have, you do whatever, the wind tunnel, you test your parts, like now your engine is not running on the ground, it's the tires that are running. And if you don't understand them, like if you don't really understand the data from the tires and how it relates to the car, then it becomes, I mean, that's like, I think it's like a gap. And that's what I think George Russell was talking about, like the teams don't understand it. And I don't think they have like a way to understand it, because right now we have like Pirelli is like the sole supplier for F1 tires. So you'd see how if they don't understand the tires, if they don't understand like what is really ailing or what is happening with the surface of this of the tire, really, then how are the teams supposed to also understand? So it's such, I don't know if you're getting me, like how insane this is. Like the only part that is contact with the ground, and I'm so sure which would relay so much data to the teams, is a part that they have no control over and they cannot get data from. It's just Pirelli, and Pirelli doesn't seem to really like maybe understand whatever is happening with the tires. Or maybe I want someone to explain to me, maybe, I don't know. Do you get what I'm saying? Like that's crazy. So I really do understand. I feel it for George Russell and for Mercedes, for the other teams that are not getting it. And for Lewis, like his radios were so defeated. It was like, do you see how I'm driving this car? Like, yeah, he was being effective, but can you imagine a tricky circuit like this, and you have to be in management, like you have to do some things so that I can imagine it's very frustrating and very hard. And I'm happy for him that he finished in the point. Somehow he got 2 points for himself and for his team as well. So yeah, I mean, I'm hoping for a better weekend in Singapore and the rest of the races as well. I think the other, who are the other two? I'm forgetting, like, who else do we need to talk about, guys? Like, who really stood out? Oh yeah, Oli Behrman with Haas. I mean, he finished ahead of Nico Hülkenberg. Remember Kevin Magnussen? Kevin Magnussen was not racing this week, and he got a race ban finally. Like, it's crazy to imagine that Kevin Magnussen starting this year did not have any penalty points on his super license, and then this year he's already gotten, like, he's actually been banned from like from a race already. So he will be back in Singapore though, and Oli will resume his Formula 2 duties. But remember, Oli Behrman is coming on board to replace Kevin Magnussen for next year's season. So props to him. The rookies, that's what I'm saying, the talent in Formula 1 is crazy. The rookies, Franco Colapinto, like, he's been driving insanely, like he's insanely talented, the first Argentinian driver in a minute. And then we have Oli Behrman really showing who's boss. So props to him, man. Like, props to the rookies. Another interesting thing is that for the first time we have like the podium today with Oscar, Charles, and George Russell. That was the first. Like, they all have raced in Formula 2. They've graduated from Formula 2. That was previously GP2, Formula 2, and they've graduated to Formula 1. That was the first F2 podium. So So I mean, good job, like good thing. Yeah, Formula 2. If you like chaos, you appreciate chaos, you go watch Formula 2. Like the start of the race, it was. I mean, I'm glad all the drivers are okay. The start of the F2 race on the Sunday's race in Baku was insane. Like one driver stalled and he caused like he Kushmaini, he stalled. He didn't he didn't engage the correct car start, whatever, like that whole procedure for starting the car. So he was stationary when everyone is moving. So the rest of the people, they crash was massive. People, like the cars looked like they were detonating. It was crazy. He has been given like two post-race sanctions. One, he was disqualified from the race for sure. And then second, he was given like a 5-place grid penalty for the next race that he will be signed up for. So if you want chaos, you appreciate chaos, watch Formula 2. And it's good. All the kids, they are talented. They are talented. And there's always so much happening. I promise. Yeah, there is. So I think that's pretty much it. Alpine, they seem to be having issues. Yuki retired from the race. I'm so sad. And so did Lance Stroll. RB, I really don't have words. To be honest, there's nothing. You didn't stand out for me this weekend. Alpine, I don't even know what to feel. Like, it's just Alpine, just having they've had very many power unit issues. I don't know, do you guys think, by the way, they should just go to Mercedes and get the Mercedes power unit, or they should apparently, Renault has been developing a very good power unit for next year. I don't know. You guys tell me. Other team, no, I think I've talked about everything. So let me talk about my B for the weekend, B meaning my highlight of this whole weekend has to be that happy Oscar Piastri win. Oscar is so composed, even on radio he's still so calm, and for him to be driving he's driving like a goat. He's driving goat-esque level of quality of driving. Like, he won his second, the Budapest Hungary was tricky. This was like purely like him, and to see him, like, he was so cute, like to see him getting out of the car, he's so bubbly. He's like, did I recover it anyway? So that has to be my B. The highlight of this weekend is to watch, and for him to defend against Charles Leclerc, who's a seasoned driver, who's like also world champion material. Like, that was really, like, that was telling. It has to be one of his best afternoons. That has to be my B of the weekend. My honey, like the sweetest thing that I saw. What is the sweetest thing that I actually saw this weekend? No, actually, like, I think I'll try to find a photo. I actually liked I liked the fans, like, outfits, to be honest. There was this particular Lewis Hamilton fan who had like this sparkly glasses and like a heart and like a whole message for Lewis Hamilton. That has to be like the cutest thing, maybe the sweetest thing I saw this weekend. Yeah, pretty much it. My stay for the weekend has to be for Checo. I was really hoping Checo would have like a good weekend, but then that crash really just took his efforts out. I hope he can just carry on with, like, I hope we can take the confidence from this weekend into the next races. It's a double header, so it's already race week. Happy race week. We are racing in Singapore. It's a night race. It was the venue for the first night race in Formula 1. We're racing in Singapore. Yes. And I'm excited for that. So I'll see you after Singapore. Remember to subscribe to our channel if you have not, or here on YouTube, or rate us wherever you're listening to us from, on like a podcast platform. Follow us on Instagram, on Twitter, on TikTok at the Worldspin Podcast. And thank you for keeping me company. I'll see you in a week after the Singapore Grand Prix.